Welcome, everybody, to another Colin Crandall breakdown, except this is a show that you guys are hopefully going to learn to love. It's absolutely got to be one of the best shows out there with some of the biggest experts in combat sports. And so let me start this out with a caution. Enter at your own risk. The ensuing episode is a gathering of grizzly gents grappling over the forthcoming fights in the UFC. This band of brothers comes to the octagon with over 300 years of experience. I am now an honorary Shaddock brother. So if you add me, we got the 300 years of experience practicing, competing, and coaching in full contact sports as well as fitness. If you take jiu-jitsu, if you take kickboxing, you take wrestling, you take karate, and boxing, with all of us thrown in here. Some of us have competed in each and every one of those, and several of us have competed in several of them. Their opinions are theirs alone, as is mine, and do not reflect anyone else, period. So we're not trying to say you all agree or whatever platform this is on. That is our disclaimer. It's real talk where profanity may punctuate the point and political correctness has no holds in restraining the conversation, as it should not. It's comic relief with professional appreciation for all the combatants, win, lose, or draw. Warning, if you have to get your mommy's permission, do it now. Hope you got some, that was just a personal note to myself. So go get your mommy's permission if you need it. Otherwise, let's jump in and rock this. First, I'm going to say I am so excited for UFC 295. Yes, we had the disappointment of Jon Jones falling off the card and Stipe Miocic then being removed as well. We all know that when that card fell off, we were all disappointed, crestfallen, heartbroken, and we all knew that they couldn't just replace that fight with a good fight. They couldn't just replace that with a great fight. They had to replace that with an exceptional fight. That they did, bringing in Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich to fight for the interim heavyweight title, meaning Jon Jones will actually be forced to face one of the younger generation, something that we all weren't really sure he was going to do. And he was kind of alluding to the fact that that was not going to be part of his plan. Well, plans change, and the next fight apparently will have to be against the winner of Aspinall Sergey. Where does that leave Stipe? Stipe keeps on being the redheaded stepchild. We'll come back and talk about that if we have the time. But I think that why don't we just jump on in it? We got 4 big fights to talk about, and they are exciting fights, and they are the fights on the main card. And so let's begin with an interesting fight between the American Matt, the Steamroller Frivola, going up against the streaking Frenchman Benoit Saint Denis. And let's go in clockwise order here, and I'll be last on this one. Let's go Dale Shaddock. Dale, give me your thoughts here in that time allotted. What do you think on that fight? The Frenchman, it looks like he's a little bit of a favorite. They've both been killing it, and this is an exciting matchup for sure.
Yeah, the Frenchman is younger. He's 27. He's 12-1. He's an up-and-comer. He's doing that. But Matty, he's fighting in his hometown. He's 33 years old, and he's ranked 14 in probably the toughest division in MMA and in the lightweight division, possibly. And I truly feel that there's levels to the game, and I think that he's going to show that, and he's going to show the kid here that there is some different levels to it. You're in the UFC now, and I'm going with the New Yorker. The New Yorker in me is pulling for him. I got Matt.
Absolutely. I think he is out of the Serra Longo team there. So he has great training, and former champion Matt Serra. And so this is going to be a great fight. I can't wait to see it. Coach Scott Shaddock, what do you think?
I'll tell you, I picked this as going to be possibly the fight of the night. These two are slamming bangers. They go on. One of the things I didn't realize, maybe you guys don't know it either, is that the Frenchman is actually a welterweight who came down to lightweight. So I don't know if that power is going to be even more explosive than I've already seen. He is a psycho. He lets punches fly and doesn't give up even on the fight that he should have stopped with Santos. The referee didn't stop it. He just kept going, fought for 3 rounds and lost it. But that's the one fight he's lost. I know that Matt Fravola's been hot. He's got three straight knockouts. He's a Long Island boy. I know the crowd's going to be behind him. I think I got to go for the Frenchman, though.
Gotcha. Appreciate it. Chris Shaddock, what do you think?
All right. Well, I think winning's contagious, and the Steamroller's been with a team that's been winning. And Longo, Sarah, Weidman, they have a huge history with wrestling and the jiu-jitsu and the karate. They have a great team together. They build a real strong fighter. The Dover KO was big. The Long Island piece is powerful because of MSG. I thought he was a little overdone in the face-off. And this Benoit character, he's an MMA wrestler, but more importantly, he comes out of the special forces and that's a different world. That's killing. And you could see it in the face-off. He didn't flinch. He did not flinch. That said something to me. The post-fight prophet is going to hold on to what's really going to happen. I got my crystal ball here, and I'll let you know the post-fight press.
Whatever.
Who wins?
But
it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Gotcha. Absolutely. We will get the post-fight commentary after the fights from the master, Chris Shaddock. John Shaddock, what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, after Chris has proclaimed himself the post-fight prophet, after the last time I did my picks, I'm going to call myself the kiss of death, because if I pick you, you're probably going to lose. So here we go.
I can relate.
Now, Fravola, if you're going by the name, the steamroller, I would have to give it to him. The other guy is God of War, kind of cliche, not so great. But I'm thinking the Dober fight, he's had a couple knockouts, but it's not really, if you look at his record, he's got a lot of decisions. I looked at the wrestling. I think the Frenchman's got a better wrestling pedigree, and he's got a great chin. So for that, I'm going to pick Benoit.
Gotcha. And I'm going to go for the American. Matt Favola. I've interviewed him several times. He's up against it here. This is a really tough fight. One of the things that I know is that when a guy is like a really, really elite level wrestler, when a guy's like an Usman, a D2 national champion, or like a Colby Covington, a D1 All-American, or like a Bo Nickel, a D1, I think he was national champion, I think a couple times. You know, it's so easy to quantify there, but these guys that were like D3 wrestlers or JUCO wrestlers or European wrestlers, it's so hard to know how good they are, at least for me. You guys did a little bit more wrestling than me. Most of you guys, actually all 4 of you, did a lot more wrestling than me. I only did a little bit with my jiu-jitsu, but I wonder how good Saint-Denis really is. And I guess we're going to find out here, because Matt knows that takedown is coming, and we'll see if he can stop it. But I'm going to go for Matt. It might be with my heart. He's going to really have to be on point, and I think he can do that. If this fight stays on the feet, I think that Matt can knock him out. Let's move on to the next fight, which we have the women, 2 Brazilian women's battle of Brazil. And we have Mackenzie Dern going up against the Bata Astaca, the pile driver known as Jessica Andrade. I'll go first on this one. This is an interesting fight. Like, the bottom line is, can Mackenzie submit her before she gets knocked the fuck out? Is pretty much what it comes down to. And people will say, well, Jessica's been losing and losing and losing, but she's losing against girls that have a little bit of a more established reputation than even Mackenzie. So you could say this may be a little bit of a drop compared to a what do you call her? The girl that beat her at 125, who's been killing it, Erin Blanchfield, and some of these other girls that are champions. So I feel that Andrade is in this fight, but she really needs it. She needs to get on the winning track. I don't think she's going to do it. We're going to go for the slightly younger woman, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion in Mackenzie Dern. Why don't we mix it up this time and we'll go counterclockwise here. Sorry to surprise you, but John Shaddock, you're up next.
Okay, if this is a beauty contest, hands down, Mackenzie Dern's going to win this. But it's not a beauty contest. It's a fight, and as much as I'd like to go for my jiu-jitsu brethren, I got to go with Andrade. I think she's just got the power. She's a force in nature. I think she's definitely got the power of punching, and she's got the power to slam. She's definitely been in there with the better competition. When you look at football teams, you look at strength of schedule, and I'm looking at strength of schedule. I got to give it to Andrade.
Respect that. Chris.
I'll tell you, I think this divorce is going to free up Mackenzie, and she could become her best self. Forget about ranking and all that other stuff. There's certain things that happen to people in their lives that frees them to become something different and something special. And she looks focused, she looks fit, and she looks strong. On the flip side, you got Jessica. And like John's talking about, she always comes to fight. That woman comes to fight. She is in a dive, and definitely that can inspire her to have to win and not just be doing a money grab, but want to continue to play in the UFC and make more coin. She's tough as nails. I mean, she does a DC pile drive. I mean, she took Rose and threw her on her head, and Rose is one incredibly, really talented fighter. The post-fight prophet will definitely let you know at the post-fight press conference who wins. But I'm telling you right now, this is going to be one heck of a fight. People are not going to want to go to the bar for this one.
Absolutely. Don't blink. Don't go get a snack on this one. Although nowadays you can pause the TV, but then you're behind, so you don't want to do that. Coach Scott Shaddock, what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, they both have divorce on their mind because Jessica Andrade has come and done these in 2023, these major fights, because she has a ton of debt that she's got to pay off to her person. And she also, her last one where she got KO'd, Dern went the distance with that one. So I think, and she's looked really good with her boxing and everything else. I think to be honest with you, Mackenzie's going to sub her, and it may be in the second round.
Sounds good.
Mainly because I don't think Jessica's fighting because she wants to, though I know she's tough as nails and she's fought the champions from all different directions. But I think she's fighting for money, and when you're going for money and your head's not in the right place, you lose fights.
Absolutely. Dale Shaddock, let me tee this up a little bit for you, Dale. We know that Jessica's lost some fights at a higher weight. At 115, she cuts a lot of weight, but she's super powerful. Is that going to have an effect on her? Might she look better here back at 115, or does not really matter that much in your opinion against this opponent?
Well, I think it's a great fight. I think Andrade has superpower. I think on the feet, if she's able to stay on her feet, that's a big plus for Andrade. The thing is that, like Chris was talking about with Rose, and yes, she pile drive Rose. Rose was winning that fight handily on the feet, and then she got pile drive. I think this is a reverse to that, because one of her other strengths is ground and pound. She takes you down and ground and pound, but now you've got somebody who is a submission specialist. I think the grappling is in the favor of Mackenzie. I think youth is. I think Chris is right with the divorce thing. I think she's focused. I agree with Scott. I'm in for Mackenzie Durham by submission, possibly in the second round. I think she's got the size and the strength, and Andrade isn't going to be able to throw her around like she can with some of the 115 pounders. I think she's going to meet her match. Mackenzie is a big. I don't know how Mackenzie makes one.
Yeah, she's a big strawweight.
She's a big girl.
Yeah,
she's strong.
Without a doubt. Well, it sounds like in this situation, the winner and the loser might end up in divorce court.
There you go.
There we go. Continuing on to the two fights that people, I think, are most interested in. And I'm really anxious to get your guys' opinion here because you guys have competed and wrestled and most of you have coached. And so what's interesting about this next fight, the co-main event, is for the interim heavyweight title, but both men, I think, got the same 9 days notice or 10 days or 11. Again, kind of a repeat of what we had with Usman and Volkanovski. The difference is in that case, it was two men in two different fights that had short notice. Here it's the two men facing each other that both had exactly the same week and a half notice. We have Sergey Pavlovich, guy's absolutely been killing it. He's a big, heavy guy. He's got some wrestling. He doesn't tend to use it except defensively because he loves to go in there and bang. And he's a heavy, strong, fast kid, only 31 years old. He did do some wrestling over at AKA with Daniel Cormier and the guys there. Again, though, we don't really know how good it is because he never really uses it. One thing I do remember is Curtis Blades, who was a D1, I think All-American or close, couldn't even find the shot against Sergey. Literally, after 2-3 minutes, he couldn't even find the opening. And so my thought is Curtis Blades is going to be a way more decorated wrestler than Aspinall here. But if it's on its feet, I think Aspinall is quicker. Short notice for both. Let's go in clockwise this time. I'll go last. Dale Shaddock, does a short notice favor either guy here or hurt either guy more? And then what's your thought on how this plays out? It's going to be a great fight, though. No one disagrees there.
Yeah, they're both in their prime. I do like the way Aspinall says he's approaching it. I hope he's being honest about it. But he said he thinks the short notice might be a factor in a positive way, kind of like what happened with Bisping on a short notice. They had to talk about that, and it's just he didn't have enough time to really think about it. They're both in their prime, 18-1 versus 13-3. I think the size, athleticism, and power. I think the fact that Aspinall is training with heavyweights is good for him because he had trained with lightweights. He moves like a lightweight, and that's something that I'm not sure if the Russian is going to be used to. It's a coin toss, but I got Tom on this one. I think Tom is going to win, and it could go the distance, but I think it's about second round.
And this is a 5-round fight, you guys know, for the interim title. So we do have 5 rounds here. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. Coach Scott Shaddock, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think that the two things you have is two powerful gentlemen. They most of their fights have been no past the second round. Sergey, wrestled till he was 17, but then he didn't go any further with that. I know Aspinall's been wrestling since he was little. His dad used to coach him, so he's got that wrestling background. And I think if he's smart, he takes this the same way Sergey got beat with his debut, and he moves with the striking. He ends up pushing him up against the fence and doing the roughhouse, dirty boxing up on the fence and pummeling and working that type of stuff. If he does do that, and then he starts working his shots in, I think Curtis Blades looked for the shot. He reached in. He didn't set him up for the shots, and he was afraid to get blasted by the big bomb, where I think Tom, if he uses his expertise and drags him into the deep water, I think Aspinall wins this one. Could be knocks him out, but I I would say it goes the distance. I don't know.
Appreciate it. Chris Shaddock, what do you think?
DC called Tom the honey badger. Honey badgers are one of the baddest animals on the planet. They kill lions, and they're fearless, and they don't get penetrated. They don't get hurt. They have a poison that they can spray, and it's a multitude of action coming out of a honey badger. You don't want to mess with one, a human or anybody else. The Pav, the big monster, he's huge and powerful, and he's got first round good nights to Lewis, to Shuey, and to Blades. That's big. He's got fast hands for a big boy. I think the injury was good for Tom. I think the short notice was good for him. 2 weeks was a good thing, especially because he's never been to New York City. He's there. It's not going to overwhelm him. He's just there, and he's going to fight because he's a honey badger. And the face-off to me, I love him, and I think it's going to reflect the fight. The honey badger was in movement during the whole face-off, and Pav was stoic and still. And if he's stoic and still, he's going to win. And if the honey badger moves, he's going to pulverize him because he's going to pick them apart. So, as we know, I'll let you know.
Absolutely. Excellent evaluation and analysis. We always appreciate it. Chris Shaddock, John Shaddock, let me tee you up really quickly. Jiu-jitsu, will that come into play at all in this fight, do you think?
Very possibly, because Aspinall he's just a better, well-rounded fighter.
Yeah.
First of all, can we agree that he won the press conference? I mean,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Agreed.
Come on, Pavlovich, you got to get some help with that. But
Wow.
yeah, I think it's going to come down to both guys hit like a ton of bricks. Really, could be a first-round fight. If Pavlovich catches him, could be just as devastating as Aspinall. But Aspinall has more weapons. He can kick. He can grapple. He can strike. And he's got incredible movement for a guy that's that big. So I just have to go with Aspinall. Go with Englishman. It's the easy pick, I think, on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm surprised that he's a favorite, though, because Sergey's just been killing it. But for some reason, you just get the feeling that the speed and the athleticism of Aspinall is going to give him that advantage. And not only that, he's better on the ground. It sure would be interesting to see what would happen with Aspinall on top on the ground of Sergey, because I think that's where Sergey might be in big trouble. Let me just go around really quick. Give me a 2-second answer here. Is Sergey going to do business as usual and go out there fast trying to finish this man by overwhelming him with strikes? Give me a 2-second answer, Dale.
Possible.
Okay, Scott.
Yes.
Chris.
I don't think it's going to work.
Gotcha. John, will he try it even or no?
He's going to come out and try it, and he's going to get, if he does, he's going to get floored.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Now on to the main event of the evening. As Bruce Buffer says, we are live. And it's time for the main event of the evening. Not Bruce Buffer, but the even better looking, younger Colin Crandall and the even tougher and more handsome Shaddock brothers. Bruce Buffer, move over. We got the A-team right here coming at you with the main event of the evening. This is going to be great. We have Brazil, as Lenny Hart from Pride used to say, against the Czech Republic. I didn't think that still existed. It was a thing, but I guess it is. Not Czechoslovakia. You got a Czech Republic. Anyway, really interesting fight. We have a former kickboxing champion who was just knocked the fuck out a couple of fights ago, and he's now up in a higher weight class. He got the win over Jan Blachowicz. I thought he lost. It was a close fight, though, and he did get the win. Yuri is coming off a year of being injured. super unorthodox, and I'm going to go last on this one. We'll go clockwise here again. Dale Shaddock, what do you think? Weird, strange fight, and I think at times it's going to look really weird and strange. But what do you think? What are the key factors here that we should be looking for?
This is the light heavyweight title. This is the
Yes.
warrior title. They are both extremely tribal. I love the weigh-in stare down with the painted face and the headdress, but then Yuri with the hair up. This is like old school gladiator. That's how I see this fight. Either guy can knock the other guy out. Yuri beat Alex's coach, Glover
Teixeira, yeah.
And he beat him with a choke. In jiu-jitsu, a phenomenal jiu-jitsu expert. I think that's where the super advantage is. I don't think that Pereira has caught up. Even though he trains with Glover, I don't think he's caught up. I think Yuri has the ground game. I think this could go. It's a coin toss, but I think it could go to the ground. And I'm for Yuri because he never lost. He was the champ. He only gave it away because of his shoulder injury. So that part, I like both guys, but I'm pulling. And I think Yuri's the more well-rounded, and he's also young and in his prime. He's got 13 win streak. I think Yuri will win this.
I like it. So if we put it down as a ballot and they have boxes, we put the check mark next to the guy from the Czech Republic.
There you go.
For the Czech. Scott Shaddock, are we going to put another check next to the check or no? What do you think?
When I first looked at this, I'm like, Pierre is going to crush him. And I looked at it and I really like Yuri. I watched a lot of stuff on him, and Pereira, to me, though he's been working with Glover, I'm still not seeing him using wrestling and other things. It's all the kickboxing, it's the movement, and he's looking to throw that left hook. That's what he's looking to do. Yuri is unorthodox, and as he respects Alex, but he says he's not a complete warrior. He's not a complete fighter. You have to know all the things. I'm just watching his samurai movements and the sword and the interviews he's been doing, how he came and challenged himself and talked English. And now he's doing great jobs with English and I believe that he's going to hit him with something crazy, like a flying knee or a spinning elbow like he did to Reyes. And so I'm picking Yuri to win this.
Another check.
And basically just get his title back, the title he never lost.
Absolutely. Reclaim his light heavyweight title. That's another check next to the man from the Czech Republic. Will we get a third check next to the check, or someone else going to have to pay the check, Chris Shaddock?
The prophet is brought the Buddha to the event, because the Buddha would even go to the Coliseum to watch these two guys fight. He would go and watch these two guys. Their stare down was like total adrenaline rush. That wasn't fake. That was cultural. That was both men standing their ground and prepping for death. That was one of the best stare downs I've seen, and I've been watching this from the beginning. And the Prophet has not predicted at the post fight who's going to win, and I will continue that record at the post fight press conference. But this fight is something that you definitely want to pay for and go watch, because it's going to be one of the best fights in the history. I don't know why I feel that, but Yuri took himself off social media for 30 days. He went into hibernation. He went into warrior zone, like deep. And Alex, his world moved from Brazil to Connecticut. That's not home. But he's teaching for Glover. And when you teach, you fine tune your basics. You fine tune your basics. He's fine tuning his basics, and he's becoming humble. One, because he's teaching kids, but two, he got knocked out. The only question is that knockout still lingering? We will find out tomorrow night.
Well said, Chris Shaddock. You learn, excuse me, you learn when you teach. John Shaddock, which one is going to be, as you guys are Shaddocks, which one is going to be the bigger, badder, crazier OW Shaddock from North Dallas 40 in this matchup of two warriors?
Well, I think Anthony Smith said it best when he said that Poatan moved up. He's not the same scary fella he was at middleweight.
Good
you know,
point.
he's got good punching power, but it's not the same power. And I think he's going to find that with a guy like Yuri. Also, Yuri has the Aspinall factor of the movement. He's got wicked, crazy movement. But Poatan kind of is like forward and backwards. He's kind of like a robot or Jason moving forward. But I'd like to see how he fights moving backwards. And I think Yuri will get him moving backwards. And I think that's going to be all she wrote. So I guess you're going to have to give another check for the check.
I love it. Another check for the check, or in other words, it might be pillow time for Poatan. Chris Shaddock, go ahead.
Hey, Colin, I just want to add something. That one thing Yuri's done that's really, really cool is that he has blended old school and modern technology. He's doing every single thing that modern technology gives you to prepare for being a fighter. And then he goes into the deep woods in the mountains doing his thing as a samurai, like an old-time warrior. So, but he's blending those two things. That's scary.
Absolutely. It's just kind of like when my brother's wife tries to blend a coffee drink and it tastes like garbage. That's scary. But that to throw in the blended there, you don't want to trust her for blending anything. Trust me.
I don't want to see you after she makes you the next coffee dude.
No, exactly. It reminds me of the coffee that Nick made on Barney Miller, if you remember that show in the early days.
Barney Miller.
Yeah, that goes back
Barney
far enough.
Miller.
Wow, you just really dated us, Colin. You dated us big time on that.
I don't know
one.
why I did it. Everyone thought we were 35 years old. Now I blew it.
That's right.
But
We got Grizzly. We got real Grizzly.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We got 5 minutes left. So actually, I forgot to give my thoughts. Yeah, I think Jury takes this. I think the Jury is so unorthodox. He has the better grappling. Alex is a big, bad beast of a man at middleweight. At light heavyweight, he's still a big man, but not the same beast. And he's also very traditional as far as his skill set and as far as his striking. Yes, it's more polished if you stand in front of him, but he's really not that quick. He's a guy who's got a good chin and who's got powerful punches. But then he got knocked out at 185 by Izzy, and then Izzy got dominated by Strickland. So I think Yuri will take this. Yuri just has to not do one thing. Yuri has to not say, all right, Poatan, we'll fight at your distance and we'll just sit here and exchange. If he does that, he's in trouble. I don't think he'd do that. It'd be a miracle if he does. He doesn't need to do he does just need to be his usual unorthodox self. And I think he's going to give Alex fits and I think probably end up stopping him. Anyway, we're just under 5 minutes. So let's do a couple teasers. We're going to do a recap. So you're going to get to see what the Brain Trust, the 4 original Shaddock brothers, plus the new Shaddock brother, Colin Crandall. We will be here on Monday to recap what we saw and give you our 300 years of combat sports experience, including wrestling, boxing, kickboxing, and jiu-jitsu, and Muay Thai, and traditional karate, and give you our analysis of why we saw what we saw. And of course, the king of the post-fight predictions with the Magic 8 Ball, Chris Shaddock, will explain exactly why he was confident that it would go down that way. So we'll have that. But also, we are going to be here again after the recap on Monday for our next prediction show for UFC 296, an event that I will be in person as much as we can count on being anywhere. Tomorrow, it's God's will. If I'm alive by then, then I will be at that fight. And we are going to be seeing Leon Edwards against Colby Covington. And that will be for Leon's 170-pound UFC welterweight strap. Another 5-round fight for the title. Alexandre Pantoja from Brazil going up against the American Brandon Royval out of Team Factory X. Look and see a great interview I did with Mark Montoya, the head coach of Factory X. And then Paddy, the Baddie Pimblett against Tony Ferguson, Vicente Luque against Ian Machado Gary, Josh Emmett against Giga Chikadze, Dustin Jacoby against Alonzo Menefield, and many more fights. Those are going to be sick. And if you guys had to pick out which of those which two of those fights you're most excited about, I didn't mean to throw you a curve here, but obviously Leon Edwards, the 2 title fights, but I'm really excited. Oh, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson against Shavkat Rakhmonov. I don't know how I missed that. That's probably the fight a lot of us are looking most forward to. Let's go real quick. We got 2 minutes, 42 seconds, 30 seconds from everybody. Coach Scott Shaddock, what do you think about those fights? What's on your mind? What are you most excited about?
I'm most excited about, believe it or not, Tony Ferguson. He's a wrestler. I'd love to see him pound the snot out of Paddy the Baddie. I want to see him spank him and put him away and leave the guy alone. Let him retire when he wants to retire. That's the biggest fight I'm excited about. I'm hoping, from watching all the stuff, I think he just got done going with Goggins on the Navy SEAL guy and training with him, getting his conditioning, his head right. I just want to see Tony look like Tony. I think the whole thing with Khabib and tripping over the cord and everything else, after all the work he's done to get to where he was, I just want him to, if he's going to leave UFC, I want to leave on a good note.
I'd love to see it. All right, Scott, everyone else has only got like 20 seconds because we're at 1:40. 20 seconds, Dale Shaddock.
I'm really excited about the Colby Leon fight. There's history there that some people are forgetting because there's been so many other weird things that have happened in between, but they should have been a long time ago had this fight. I think this is a big one, and I'm going Colby.
Love it. Chris Shaddock. We got Leon Colby. We got.
I like both the fights that the brothers just talked about. I think the Colby fight, it's going to be, is Colby's pitter pat and constant flow and movement going to keep Edwards off balance, or Edwards is another one of those freed up human beings that when he hit that knockout changed him for the better. And
absolutely. Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. We got less than a minute. Give me 10, 15 seconds, John Shaddock.
I got to go with Tony Ferguson. As you might know, I was at 10th Planet last year. I got to train with those guys. I have a little bit of a bond, so I got to go for the 10th Planet guy. Paddy, I think, is overrated. Time to go, Paddy.
Absolutely. Love to see Tony Ferguson win it. I think we have 20 seconds or something. So I want to thank you very much, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Wonderboy. Love to see it. Can't wait to see Ian Machado Gary, Vicente Luque. We're going to kill it. Look for our predictions to come through more than at least anyone else's. More fun, more knowledge, and we will see you Monday for the recap. Enjoy the fights. Peace.
See you later, West Coast brother.
Take care, East Coast brothers.